notion.
Hmm.
Because for a lot of people, Salafism is not only a religious idea, it's an identity.
Yeah.
So before my book even came out, I was getting emails that I'm anti-Salafi or I'm anti-Albani. And when I
Hmm.
had some conversation with these people, they didn't even read the book yet. Already
Hmm.
there was just this kind of attack on just because of the book itself.
Yeah.
So I wonder if what your experience is like, or do you think Salafis will view this book as a critique of the movement?
Yeah. So I'd like to begin by stating that I am trying my best, my utmost best, to avoid sectarianism as much as possible. And that's very difficult to do when the book is about a particular strand or interpretation, but I'm trying my best to do so. This is an academic work, it is not an emotional rant, it's not a critique. I actually started writing the book when I ascribed to the movement and viewed myself as a genuine bona fide follower of Ibn Taymiyyah. And by the time the book was over, as I keep on saying, I've moved on. I'm not anti. I have just moved on, as I'm sure we're going to talk about in this interview. So I don't wish to fan the flames of intra-Muslim hatred and sectarianism. And I have never once criticized my teachers, my alma mater. I have nothing but utmost respect for the people that I studied under, and I genuinely believe they are good and sincere people. That having been said, I have disagreements with certain interpretations of the movement, and so that is also present in the book. As you correctly point out, that it is human nature, it's not just this movement, any movement that feels under pressure or critiqued, they will engage in a defense mechanism, and that is understandable. It's a human psychological phenomenon. And of the ways they do that is ad hominem, like they attack the person
Yeah,
rather than the message. And you know this from your
yeah,
own. So it's not something unique to the Salafi movement. Whenever Deobandi critiques the movement, automatically they're like, oh, this wasn't a real Deobandi, he wasn't really a part of the movement. This is human nature, it's a defense mechanism. So I personally don't really get involved in ad hominem attacks.
mhm,
And those who resort to that, they appeal to a certain demographics, a certain intellectual audience, or that level of, and that's fine. It is what it is. I don't really engage with that. But if anybody brings substantive critiques of the ideas, then Bismillah, let us engage and let us have a fruitful back and forth. I find it interesting that even before the book is so even today, what's the day today? Yeah. So even today, the book is not actually being shipped in America.
yeah.
It's 15 July being shipped in America. It's available for pre-sale, but there are already critiques from the American
Yeah, I
community.
saw that.
And when you read them, it's obvious with utmost respect, they
Mhm,
haven't even read the book. They
yeah,
are creating a straw man argument that is not even mentioned and then refuting me, not even the ideas. And it is what it is. So I encourage everybody to have an open mind and read for yourself. I view myself as sympathetic to the movement even to this day,
mhm,
even to this day,
yeah,
in spite of what the critics say. This movement has shaped me. I have lived and breathed and studied at its, primary institute, and
mhm,
I have nothing but respect for the icons of the movement, including Sheikh Al Albani, whom I've never met, but I've listened to his live lectures, by the way,
yeah,
online, and we have had conference calls with him back in the 90s. So I've had that honor. I've studied with Ibn Uthaymeen, rahimahullah. He wrote Tazkiyah for me. I've met Ibn Baz multiple times, including in his house, Ibn Jibreen multiple times, including in his house, Salih Al Fawzan. Others, may Allah, forgive those that have moved on and bless those that are alive. I have nothing but respect for them,
mhm,
but I don't agree with certain interpretations, and that's clear in the book. So, as you said, it is what it is, and I don't want to, increase sectarianism. Nonetheless, we need to discuss academic issues, what is right and what is wrong, to transcend personalities. And that's really one of the key points. And frankly, that's a very Salafi idea,
mhm,
right? The
yeah, yeah,
truth transcends personalities.
mhm,
So let me remind my Salafi brethren that if they really are interested in the truth, remove ideas, remove Yasir Qadi, remove others, and let's talk about ideas as they exist. And Bismillah, that's the whole purpose.
yeah. That's subhanallah, very interesting. Like myself, growing up in New Jersey, where there was a large Salafi movement, especially on college campuses, there was always this tension between Salafism and other movements. And when you shift to academia, you see people studying this movement from the outside, right? And someone like yourself, who's in your book, you mentioned that you went and you found yourself sitting knee to knee with Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen. You have this experience from the insider perspective, right? So a lot of the academic books on Salafism, they're looking at it from a very political lens or security lens, terrorism, even the way they define it, right? So the definitions out there on Salafism, a lot of them are defining Salafism according to their political inclinations. One thing I found frustrating was this in particular, because Salafis, what makes someone a Salafi is not their political inclination or the way they dress or their gender interaction. It's really their belief in theology, right? So what is it that, you know, they often accuse the insider of being biased, but they also lack something, right? Because they don't have that.
100%. This is what motivated me to write the book. And it's mentioned in the introduction. This is exactly what motivated me. The frustration of stereotyping and caricaturing a movement that I knew far better than any of these academics. And they're missing the point here. And again, let's go back 10 years ago when I was, in the last 10 years, a number of good books have come out, including your one. But, when I was in the academy, when I was doing my PhD, and then when I was teaching at Rhodes College, it was so frustrating that I couldn't really find a decent book that surveys the movement and portrays it in a manner that, forget sympathetic or hostile, factually correct. Just it described the movement as is in a holistic manner, rather than nitpick and create a stereotype that a Salafi himself would not recognize, which is what bothered me at the time, that I don't recognize what I'm reading here is not the movement that I studied and I'm calling to at the time, And so for me, this was my main motivation. Believe it or not, it was actually to empathize and to demonstrate the reality of Salafism. And I say for the record that even though I have moved on, had I still been a part of the movement, not much in the book would have changed. Sure, the epilogue and certain paragraphs in the end, but by and large, it is a factual description of the movement. And you've read the book, so you can, I hope, testify to that as well. It is simply a encyclopedic description, and that's what I wanted. I wanted my book to be a encyclopedic reference for the educated layperson, that anybody who wants to know about this movement can get its history, its theology, its diversity, can get the movement globally, how it's impacted, and also, the relationship of this movement with two other strands, Islamic, political Islam, the Brotherhood, and jihadist militant strands, Al-Qaeda and ISIS. And I am hopefully, optimistic that inshallah ta'ala, this book will be a reference for, I hope, inshallah, many decades to come. But as with all writings, there will always be updates and additions, inshallah. And nothing is perfect. There must be minor mistakes and faults. But I hope, inshallah, that it serves as a neutral academic reference for many decades to come.